welcome Ketan to our discussion today, and I have with me Ketan, who is currently studying his advanced computer science at the University of Strathclyde in the UK. And just to give you a brief introduction, Ketan graduated with a computer engineering degree from Mumbai in 2020, and then after that he worked for almost 3 years in the IT industry before he moved to the UK in the Jan of 2024 to pursue his masters in advanced computer science at the University of Strathclyde. That's correct, Ketan?
Right, that's correct.
Right. And it's been a year, and you graduated recently from the program, right?
Well, technically, my course is over right now.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for my final results, and they should be out in January.
Okay. So you're almost on the verge of completing. I mean,
Yeah,
should be
right,
graduating in a few weeks. So
right.
now that you have graduated, I wanted to actually ask you and understand how is the job market in the UK today, and what has been your experience searching for jobs in the UK, full-time jobs?
So um, as of right now, whatever things that I've experienced in the market, I feel like it's not the really case with just UK. I
Hmm.
feel like it's the situation is just overall bad everywhere.
Right.
So for me, talking about me personally, um, I tried searching for jobs right after my exams ended,
Hmm.
but uh, there are a few advice that I got. Like basically, this is December period,
Hmm.
and all of my friends and the people who I know who've been in the industry now for like who have come before me, let's say 1 year or 2 year ago, all of them told me that December is not the right time to apply
Okay.
because uh, Christmas and New Year's, so people here are busy celebrating this,
You're right.
and yeah, so they fully expect like businesses to close down, you know, and everything will open up after January, like after let's say second week of January.
Okay.
So if you see, because I was Jan intake, I
Hmm.
remember that my starting date was 18th January, which is like the second week of January.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's when I start. That is actually when I'll start again applying.
Hmm.
Regarding how the situation is, I feel like currently the uh, situation is very difficult.
Okay.
Um, it's not the case that people are not getting jobs. People are getting jobs,
Hmm.
and it and there's a big factor of luck also involved.
Okay.
So basically to get a job in UK,
Hmm.
right? Currently I'm on student visa, right?
Right.
I cannot my technically my student visa expires in May, I think so. I'm not exactly sure, but May or June my student visa expires.
Okay.
I cannot apply for a work visa right now because I don't have my results from university to show that I've cleared all of my subjects. I have passed, and then I can and then I can move forward on the graduate visa,
Okay.
the tier twos, the tier four work visa.
Okay.
And here's the situation that currently is happening with me right now, right? Um, First of all, getting an interview is difficult, right?
Hmm.
Whenever you're filling the form, and that form, they clearly ask you two things. One thing is, will you be needing sponsorship currently or in the future?
Hmm.
And most probably, if you're not a UK citizen, you will obviously at one point need sponsorship.
Correct.
And second thing, they will ask you if you have valid working uh, a valid working visa. How
Okay.
long does how what is the expiry of it?
Hmm.
Since I am a student visa and my visa expires in May or June, that's what I put. and that is the point where most companies will think that you're the kind of person who's going to directly need sponsorship,
Okay.
right?
So
So
just to clarify this, you would be eligible to apply for a 2-year post-study work permit after you graduate.
right, but
Okay.
since I have not applied for it, or since I don't have it right now,
Correct.
I cannot show it to the company or to the employer that
Right.
I have already invested, like I am already invested in that route, and
Hmm.
my visa is already on the way.
Okay.
So all of my friends have told me that the um, real what you can say application process
Okay.
would start once I get my graduate visa
Okay. The
or
post-study
post-study
work
work visa.
work week. Okay.
Yeah,
And how
right,
long generally would that take? I mean, once you, of course, you can apply for it only after you graduate, which means officially after the
right,
results are out and you have completed all your post-work requirements, you would be eligible to apply for it. Correct?
right.
Correct. And
So according to what I've heard, the website I think so mentions 3 weeks, I think.
okay.
It mentions 2 or 3 weeks, but in my friend's like experience, it can take up to a month or 1.5 months as well.
Okay. So you're
Right,
looking at almost end of January, or since you'll be graduating now in the coming weeks, so end of January to mid Feb is when you would be. Just a minute, I'll just put this off.
all right.
Okay. Let me just put my phone on silent. I should have done that before we started, but okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. So ideally, you would be getting your work visa maybe by around mid Feb. Ideally.
You can say by February end
Okay.
or by
Okay.
March first, second week, early March.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like one of the advice that I've gotten by most of the people is to really apply as soon as possible for the post study work visa, because that is one thing that will hold back your um, application process.
Okay, but you can only apply for it after you officially graduate.
After you have an official, in India we get a leaving certificate,
Yeah, yeah.
that kind of a thing from a
So something like
university.
a
You get a
course completion certificate is what you are
right,
looking for,
right,
right? Okay.
right,
Right. And generally, I mean, from your experience or from your what you've seen other students who are applying, right? Um,
right,
do students actually get, so now that you have, I'm sure you must have applied to some jobs by now.
right, right.
Have you been able to get interviews, or probably or not many?
So as of now, I haven't gotten any interviews because like um, the timing that I started was not correct.
Okay.
Right. So I did not try as much as well because my friends told me to stop, because
Okay.
otherwise I would just be applying to jobs, and my resume will uh, you know get lost in like whatever all this Christmas mess, and
Hmm.
uh, basically nobody would be hiring.
Okay.
So uh, so yeah, that's why right as of now I haven't got any interviews.
Okay. And amongst
Yeah.
your, I mean, some of your seniors who graduated maybe in
Uh-huh.
September or October, right? When the earlier
Yeah.
batch, I mean, so they had come in August they had come in last September, they would have graduated this September. Among
Right.
them, how do you see the job? How do you see the job success rate or the job market? Did most of them manage to get jobs by now, or some of them are still looking for jobs?
Uh, so it's a it's a very mixed bag, I
Hmm.
would say. Um, it's Many of them have jobs.
Okay.
Many of them, like few of them, also have sponsorships.
Okay.
Um, Many of them are still here. Many of them are here who are running out of time because their PSW is coming to an end,
Uh-huh.
and still working odd jobs, you could say. So it's really you can say difficult right now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it is something you should be prepared and something you should really focus if you're really going to come to UK. You're going to spend so much money.
Mm-hmm.
You should be really really you should like you should be clear that what you want to do, and you should
Okay.
be really confident in your skills, and you should really focus building your skills and building your resume.
Okay. And
Yeah, so
yeah, so the fact that you had worked in India for nearly 3 years before you started your
right.
masters in the UK, do you think
Mhm.
that is an advantage, or because I'm sure, are there any freshers in your class? So that, let me ask you this, or from the same program that you graduated, are there students who actually who have come without any experience?
I I have not seen anyone who has not come here without experience.
Okay.
All of my friends, yeah, most of the friends that I have, most of the people that I know have
Hmm.
worked at least 1 year
Okay.
back in India.
Okay.
But here's the thing, right? Um, Even if you have what I've been told is even if you have worked back in India,
Hmm.
it does not matter if it's like for 2 years or for 3 years
Okay.
or like 4 years. It matters only after you have an experience of like 5 years, 6 years, 8, 10 years,
Okay.
and that too in reputed companies like I'm talking more specifically about like tech side of things now.
Hmm.
That too into reputed companies like JP Morgan Chase, you could say Barclays or Amex,
Okay.
American Express, and
Hmm.
where these companies are very well known and have uh, good reputation, international reputation.
Okay.
So even for them, so if you think that if you're going to come here with an experience of 3 or 4 years and try for let's say mid to senior, because after 3 years you're not technically supposed to be junior,
Right.
right? You kind of fall into that mid
Mid
level.
level. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
That's my alarm.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So because you technically after like 3 4 years you start falling into that mid
Mid
level
level.
positions, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh, but it will be difficult for you to uh, prove that you are. If you can prove that you are worth it, then
Sure.
very good. But otherwise, I would say if you're trying to be realistic, and like if you're trying to be practical, you might want to tone down your expectations a little bit.
Okay. So you would,
That's
so
what
you're saying that even with 3 years of experience, you would be trying for mostly entry level jobs, graduate
I
level.
would be applying, right. I would be applying for mostly entry and mid-level positions.
Okay.
But yeah, I at this moment, like I would prefer having a job rather
Rather
than
than,
worrying
yeah.
about yeah,
Right. And do most of these, so coming to the entry level or the graduate level jobs that you would be
yeah,
applying to, uh,
yeah,
because I understand that in case for applying for a company to even sponsor you, there is going to be a salary criteria that is needs to be fulfilled for them to apply for your work permits,
right,
right? Which I guess is 38,000 pounds per year, if I'm not wrong, currently,
right. So yeah,
something in that range. Yeah. So,
right.
do you think most of the jobs that companies offer or just ones that the students get, do they fall in that criteria? That is, the salaries are more than the minimum required 38,000, or many students struggle to get that as well?
Right. So here's the is the complete picture since my friends have like two of my friends have gotten sponsorship,
Okay.
and this process of sponsorship and this idea of sponsor. Let me just clear some air about
Sure,
this,
sure.
right? So first of all, getting a sponsorship will be very, very difficult.
Okay.
It's not that it's not impossible. It is
Hmm.
difficult, and my friends have worked really hard, and they have gotten sponsorship, and rightfully so, right? So coming to the point of how to get a sponsorship, if you are one of those lucky peoples who have gotten a chance to work in Europe or in UK, you actually have come here previously and worked. That is one thing that will boost your uh, boost your resume, or like give you a big head start,
Okay.
right? Coming to the salary point of sponsorship,
Hmm.
here in UK, every profession has a code, professional code.
Correct.
Depending on that code, some salary is decided,
Right.
right?
Minimum salary is decided.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the 38,000 is a general number
Hmm.
that UK government has provided, or
Correct.
that they have displayed in the on their website.
Yeah.
Once you actually dive deep into the process, what my friend has told me is that it's not exactly 38,000.
Okay.
It it usually is little bit less than that,
Okay.
right? Um, all of that depend. There are a lot of factors affecting this 38,000 number
Hmm.
that we see on the UK government's
Website.
website.
Yeah.
Uh, it's not necessary that. So if let's say if I'm starting as a graduate, all right. If I've joined a company as a graduate, the most you can expect, the most highest salary that you can expect is around 28,000.
Okay.
This I'm not talking about London, because in London equations are really different.
Okay.
I'm talking in general about other places.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be slightly higher than 20, let's say 28 or 29. You can say if you are really bright,
Hmm.
you can stretch it to 30,
Okay.
but realistically, you might be getting your package between 26 to 28 or 29,
Okay.
29,000 per month, per
Per
year.
year.
I'm sorry,
Yeah. Yeah.
per year.
Yeah.
Yeah, annually.
Hmm.
Um, so if you are in this bracket and the company decides to sponsor you,
Okay.
there are various ways or various yeah, I would just say various ways a company might decide to sponsor you.
Okay.
One of the ways uh, is either the company can take the entire load and sponsor you for your work visa, for your skilled worker visa.
Hmm.
That's the tier 2 visa, that which you need for sponsorship,
Correct. Right.
right? For that case, in that case, they will raise your salary till whatever is required, and then they will and on top of that they will also pay the sponsorship fees
Hmm.
by themselves.
Okay.
The other way which I have seen is they will um they will say you can either get 2 years of sponsorship or 5 years of sponsorship. That's some companies are very upfront about it. If they really like your job, they will be ready to sponsor you for 5 years as well.
Okay.
This is also one of the factors that changes how much salary is required.
Okay.
So, if, for example, if you're getting sponsored for 5 years, it's not 38. It's close to 41,000.
Okay.
It's actually a little bit higher than 41,000. Your salary needs to be higher than 41,000.
Okay.
So what company says is that if you want 5 years of sponsorship, we'll we'll give you 41,000 as a um, as your salary or whatever is required, but you will be the one bearing the expenses of the sponsorship. We'll be doing the paperwork, but
Okay.
you will be paying for it.
Okay.
So that is how it works.
And how
And
much does that approximately come to? Is it a big amount? The sponsorship cost?
uh, so the so
Just a
the
rough
act
estimate, yeah.
yeah, I even so if what one of my friend told me was that if he gets sponsored for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
then his salary will get bumped up to over 41,000. But if he deducts all the fees for uh, paying for 5 years of sponsorship visa, he is looking at around somewhere 31 to 32 thousand. The this thing should come. Yeah,
Effective salary,
It's
you're saying?
effective salary. Yeah,
So that is like 10,000 per year. Is it that high?
that's for no. That's for I think entire 5 years.
5 years. Okay. So it's so for
Yeah,
the first year, maybe it's effective salary. So you're saying it would almost cost him around 10,000 for.
yeah, for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay. And what about the 2 year thing? I mean, there the salary requirements are less.
Yeah, that's where I think so. Your 38, this number of 38,000 comes into the picture.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what
So
about what happens in case a company is not willing to give you that kind of salary? I mean, say suppose a company is offering you a 28 or 30,000 package, right? So
yeah,
in that case, you just have the 2 years or 1.5 years or whatever was left in your post-study work permit thing, post-study visa.
right,
That's the only
right,
time that you can work. So you won't get sponsorship, is what you're saying.
right. So that until and unless the company is ready to sponsor you, you won't be able to move to the skilled worker visa,
Okay.
and you would basically be working on the work visa that you've got, the 2 years
The two
that
years
you've
work
got.
visa. Okay. And then what
Yeah.
happens beyond that? You either have to leave the country or find another sponsor.
Yeah, you either have to find a sponsorer who's ready to sponsor you,
Okay.
or after that you have to move out. You
Oh,
have to
okay.
leave the country. Yeah,
Okay. Great. That is definitely good information that you shared. Um,
yeah. Thank
so
you.
anything else that you would like to tell? I mean, especially students who are planning to come to the UK in 2025, mm, uh, maybe in September or maybe 2026 January. I mean, something, anything that you're
Yeah,
maybe even this coming Jan, maybe in the next 2 3 weeks, if someone is planning to move to the UK,
right.
what would you recommend or what would you suggest that they should be aware of, or something that you would like to advise, recommend?
Yeah, so there are a handful of things that I would like to recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Firstly, I would start by talking about a little bit about housing,
Okay.
because housing is something that was uh, gathering information regarding housing and all was a little bit difficult
Okay.
for me, at least while I was once I got the admission and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The difficult part was getting a house, because here in India you can't come to UK because you don't have visa, and you can't come here for visiting, like you can't come here for viewing houses.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of factors that will play into making a decision that what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Either you could There are two things. You could either privately rent, which is what I did, which is something that you are basically renting an apartment. That is one thing you could do. Or you could either go into a student accommodation.
Okay. And the
Both.
student accommodation is offered by the university itself.
It could be offered by the university, or there are independent you can say organizations who are ready to provide accommodations to students as well.
Okay. Uh-huh.
One of the example of this is Xenia.
Mm-hmm.
So Xenia is one of the organizations who is not affiliated to any particular university. It's just a thing. It's just a organization, and they just give out flats to, they give you en suite apartments to students.
Okay.
Yeah. So um, I'm assuming if you're coming for masters, it'll be for 1 year, 1 or 2 years, right?
Correct.
That's the max. For 2 years, you will have student. You will be on student visa for maximum, and let's say for 1 year you are on student visa. In my case, like I'm on 1 year of student visa. If you're renting privately, there are various different challenges that you'll face, and there are different challenges that you'll face in student accommodation.
Okay.
If let's talk about privately renting apartments, right? If you're renting apartments privately, first thing you should know is that there is something called council tax, which you will have to pay uh, if you are not a student. If you are a student, if you are a full-time student, you're exempt from that. I was exempt. I am still exempted from the uh, council tax. So this is a tax which is added on top of your rent.
Okay.
So I would say if you want to look at the expenses, how your expenses would be,
Hmm.
you'll be paying certain amount of rent, you'll be paying for some amount of groceries, you'll be paying for your bills, which is heating, electricity, and water, and you would be paying some amount of tax. This council tax, you will be exempt from this council tax until you are a student,
Okay.
right? And that in your first year is a very big relief, right?
Hmm.
Because this council tax is it depends. There are various bands, and you should check what band your flat falls in,
Okay.
and according to that, depending on that, it will you will be charged higher or a lower amount.
Okay.
So it comes goes from band A to band E or F, I think so. And the worse your band is, the more is your council tax.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is one thing that everyone should be aware about.
Hmm.
Secondly, if in privately renting, you need a UK guarantor. A UK guarantor is a person who is the citizen of UK, who has to be the citizen of UK. And the point behind having a UK guarantor is, if suppose today I am not able to pay rent, or I fall behind on my rent for a month, that UK guarantor will be the person who will be held reliable, and uh, the my landlord will be legally allowed to take money, or
Yeah.
that month's rent from
From the
that
guarantor.
person.
Sure. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, which is completely fine. That's not a thing. But
Right.
I assume that not everybody has the privilege. I didn't have this privilege.
Right. Most students would not have the
Most
privilege to have a UK
of
guarantor. Of knowing someone who
right.
would be willing. First of all, knowing someone itself is a challenge. Knowing someone
Yeah,
who is a
right.
UK citizen, and then uh, having this person stand as a guarantor is the second
Yeah, right.
challenge, right? Mhm.
Right. And so that's why either you can have services, uh, there are services you can pay for, which would again cost you somewhere between 150 to 100, like 100 to 200 pounds range,
100 to
which is
200 pounds
expensive
per month is what you're
per
trying.
month. Yeah,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Who
Which
stands as
is, which
guarantors
is,
for you?
sorry?
I mean, these services actually act as your guarantors,
Right.
right? But you have to pay
So
almost 100 to 150 pounds per month.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is really expensive.
Okay.
There are cases where you can find what you can say, landlords who are willing to accept you,
Okay.
who are willing to not take if you don't have UK guarantor, you'll have to pay 6 months rent upfront.
Oh,
So that is also a hefty task. So
correct,
if
correct.
your rent is 500 pounds for 6 months, that's 3,000 pounds. That's 3 lakhs, all like
Yes,
3
right. So
lakhs
you pay
plus you are
the
directly paying.
correct, right. So what
Right.
did you
And
do? I mean, you went with the guarantor, or you paid the mm, the
so
6 months rent upfront?
I would say I got lucky in that case.
Hmm.
I was looking for. Firstly, I also found one like firstly try to find a partner who, not like a partner, but like a friend who would whom with whom you would be comfortable moving
Sharing
in
the
if you're
apartment?
privately renting
Okay.
to share an apartment.
Hmm.
And the thing where I got lucky was that I found an Indian landlord.
Okay.
And yeah, that in itself comes with a different set of challenges. But yeah, that uh, since he was also Indian, he knew that a student here come very often, and there's no actual need to ask them for 6 months of rents and upfront.
Okay.
That is why he was fine with it. That it ultimately comes down to the landlord,
Okay.
basically.
Okay.
If he really is unsure about you, then he would want you to pay 6 months rent upfront,
Hmm.
and he has the full authority to do it. It's written. It's legally written.
Okay.
Yeah,
But it's up
and
to the
otherwise,
landlord to waive it off if required.
yeah, to waive it off or not.
Okay.
And the other route you can go is the student accommodation route,
Sure.
which is fairly straightforward, and there are a lot of things that you won't have to deal with, which you'll have to deal with in privately renting, because
Correct.
because my landlord does not my land so we pay rent and we pay for uh, water and
Utility.
heating
Yeah.
bills to the landlord,
Okay.
but the internet bill is managed by us.
Okay.
Yeah, so even though it is all included in my rent, but that is how it bifurcates. Basically, some amount of it goes to my landlord, and some amount gets directly paid to the internet company.
Okay.
These are the things you won't be dealing with if you are in a student accommodation.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
You just pay one amount and then everything is sorted.
Right. My one of my flatmate, he takes care of the rest of the things.
Okay.
He has been living here for like 3 years now, almost
Hmm.
3 years now, and he already has a rapport with the landlord. That's why he's the one who always we always send him money, and he takes care of the rest of the things.
Okay.
If there are any things that we need to discuss, for example, if we don't feel like our internet provider is good, if we feel that we're being charged more for electricity and all stuff, that's completely on us. We can just change them. We can just change providers. It's
Okay.
not a thing
Sure.
that landlord really gets involved with.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Right. But are
Um,
student accommodations difficult to find that you went in for the private one?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. I would say housing in general is very difficult to find
Hmm.
in UK. I would say you will have to be very proactive in
Okay.
finding houses,
Okay.
because um, I have seen cases where if you're late just by 5 minutes for a viewing,
Uh-huh.
the 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 letting agent or whoever the person is there to show you the house would just call you and be like, okay, no, I'm not waiting. You're done.
Okay.
Maybe we can schedule it next time.
Okay.
Right? So there are a lot of people who are already in the market to find new houses,
Hmm.
and we as immigrants or coming from the other country, it'll be really difficult for us to find houses.
Okay.
So in general, there is a shortage of houses and rents. One of the things that you need to keep in mind is that there is
Hmm.
this trade-off that I uh, personally realized when I moved here. The trade-off is that if you want lower rents, you might have to live a little bit farther away from the city center.
Okay.
Okay, but whatever the amount you would be saving in rents, you might end up spending them on traveling.
Hmm.
Or let's say if you so the neighborhood areas, the residential areas over here are uh, uh, they are very residential. What I mean by that is it's not like India where you can, even if you live in a colony, you can just go down and there's a grocery shop, or there's a there's a supermart like 5 or 10 minutes away from you.
Yeah.
Chance if you move here, if in here, if you move into really neighborhood, residential neighborhood, chances are that it'll be any shop would be like at least 20 to 30 minutes away from you.
Okay.
So or even if you cook, you might be ordering your uh, deliveries, your groceries, you'll be getting it delivered, or you might have to prepare that you might have to be prepared that after lectures or after completing your day, you will have to plan your buy your groceries and come back.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, um,
So
here's the
having
thing,
an
right?
apartment in the near close to the city center gives you an advantage,
Right, but
because
at
you pay
that point,
higher rent.
yeah, but then you'll be paying more rent,
Hmm.
which might be difficult for a lot of people because
Correct.
uh, I have seen people pay uh, up to
Okay.
£1,200 per month
Hmm.
for apartments in city center.
Okay.
These are ensuite apartments, definitely. They are not that big as well, but just because it's in city center, it's
Sure.
really really close to the heart of the city. They have been asked to pay 1,200.
No. Okay.
And since my university was in the directly in the center of the city center,
Uh-huh.
like I I I got a location which is not far away from the city center
Okay.
and still has a decent rent,
Okay.
something that I could afford,
Hmm.
which is £500 per month.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, for me it is like I could walk up to like it's 30 minutes walking from my house. Even if I had to walk,
Okay.
it's maximum 30 minutes for me, 30 to
Okay.
40 minutes, depending on which building I have to go.
Okay.
So, so that is the trade-off that you need to be aware of,
Okay.
because transport over here is also expensive,
Hmm.
and deliveries here are expensive.
Okay.
Even if you're ordering food from outside,
Uh-huh.
uh, it is expensive. Deliveries in general are very expensive.
Okay.
So, someone who is really strapped on cash, or someone who's trying to save or trying to budget their expenses,
Sure.
they need to be
Yeah,
aware of
yeah.
these things.
When you're in India and you plan your budget, you don't really consider all these factors, right?
Right.
Hmm.
So that is something that you need to be aware of.
Okay.
Um, that being said, if you are someone who is moving to UK, especially to Scotland, and you are below the age of 21,
Hmm.
there is something called as Young Scot card that you can make, and that is something that is really, 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 beneficial for someone who is 21 or below the age of 21.
Okay.
You basically get free access to, you won't be charged for public transports.
Okay.
There won't be any, you won't be paying for any tickets if you want to go to, let's say, in Scotland, visiting museums or visiting castles and all. If you have a Young Scot card, it's
You do
basically
that
free for
freely.
you.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So in that case, there are a lot of advantages here as well.
Okay.
So yeah, that is a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we have covered a lot.
Right.
Is there anything else that you would like to add at this moment?
Uh, as of now, I think so. That's the most that I can share.
Okay.
If
Cool.
there are any other particular things that,
Sure.
uh,
If there is something specific
yeah,
that we need to discuss, maybe we'll schedule another call. Um,
right.
and as of now, I would say thank you. Thanks a lot for your time and your inputs. They were really great. And wish you the very best with your job search. And hope
Thank you.
very soon you have, once your results are out, you start working on your job search and you get a job soon. Okay.
Thank you so much. I would also like to say thank you for helping me out during the process, and being just a general, a very great advisor, and giving me a lot of good advices
Yeah.
during our process.
You're welcome. Okay. चलो बाय.
Thank you. Bye bye.
हम्म.